kind of the common or strong belief that we all have with black seed is that if it doesn't work for an ailment, it's because we haven't figured it out yet. Use the black seed because it contains a cure for every type of ailment except for death.
Welcome to the Herbs with Rosalee podcast, a show exploring how herbs heal as medicine, as food, and through connecting with the living world around you. Well, black seed, Nigella sativa, is often credited with 1,001 uses, from supporting the heart to digestion to tending the lungs. And with all that fanfare, it can be easy to wonder what's real and what's hype. But the truth is, this is one of the most revered herbs in the world. That's why I was especially thrilled when Abrar Al-Shaer chose black seed as her plant for the show. She generously shares her family stories and traditions, ancient Islamic teachings, modern research, and the deep meaning that this herb holds for her as part of the Palestinian diaspora. It was truly an honor to host this conversation with Abrar, and I know you're going to leave with an even greater appreciation for this small but mighty seed. And hey, if you enjoy this episode, please give it a thumbs up so more plant lovers can find us. And be sure to stay tuned to the very end for your herbal tidbit. Abrar, I am delighted to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was such a delight to meet you last year, like well over a year ago in Michigan, in person for the first time, and get to hear your story. And then I felt like I was like chasing you for a long time because I messaged you on LinkedIn and then I forgot about LinkedIn. And anyway, and then I got to meet you again in Michigan this year, which shout out to Great Lakes Herb Fair, is amazing. And
Yes.
It was really lovely. We had like the lunch together and some time together. And so I've been really looking forward to having you on the show.
Thank you so much. And thank you for not giving up on finding me. I appreciate it.
I think it was my fault, but yeah.
No worries.
I'm so glad. Yeah. It's really been a long time coming.
Yeah. Thank you so much for putting this together. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, it's I'm really looking forward to this conversation and really looking forward to hearing about your plant path and all the different ways the plants have called you into all that you do today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for asking. So I always usually I have like a really strong core memory from childhood that I would say is like the strongest starting point. In my family, my grandma and mother practiced, I guess you could say, home herbalism, although they would just call it medicine, and whenever we got sick, they would rub herbal oils on our chests and give us sage tea, and there was always a remedy for nearly everything. But I remember specifically in 6th or 7th grade, we were tasked to do like an herb fair, or not herb fair, a science fair project. I wish it was an herb fair.
That's a nice slip there.
I know, right?
All of us really wanted. Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah. So I hadn't thought much about like herbs, honestly, until I was really stuck on what to do for my science fair project. And I knew I liked science, but I was like, I don't know what I want to do for my project. So I went to the room my mom was sitting in, and she was reading a book on the medicinal plants or medicinal properties of olives and olive leaf, to be specific. And she would always engross herself in those types of books and things like that, but I hadn't thought much of it until kind of in that moment. I was like, why do you keep reading those books? And she's like, because plants are the origin of all healing. And so if we can understand them, we don't need all these medications that you see in the market. And I remember when she said that, I was like, wow, so that's the original medicine. And that was kind of my first thought. And I told her, I know what I want to do for my science fair project. And I just kind of like ran out of the room. So from there, I told my teacher, I was like, I want to do something with herbs for my science fair project, because I thought it was just so cool that you can pick something from the kitchen or from outside and it can have healing power. So I decided at that time to actually pick black seed as my plant of choice for my middle school project, which is funny enough is also the topic of today, because growing up, it was the most revered plant in our household. So my grandmother, my mother, community leaders, nearly anyone in the community, if you mentioned black seed, it was very well known as we call it in Arabic Habbat al-Barakah, or the seed of blessings.
Hmm.
And so it comes with a very big reverence and honor to be able to use it as an herbal medicine. And so I thought, there must be a reason why everyone's obsessed with this plant. So I'm going to use it for my science fair project. And funny enough, I don't know why I thought about culturing E. coli, but that was what I chose to do. And I cultured E. coli. I butchered it. I did not know what I was doing, but I cultured E. coli and I put some black seed oil drops in there to test kind of its like efficacy at killing bacteria. And I was so excited. Granted, I think I totally contaminated my culturing techniques, but funny enough, fast forward into undergrad, I actually decided to repeat this experiment with proper culturing techniques and actual skills. So that was really fun to be able to do, because we also had the choice to like do a semester-long kind of experiment for one of my courses. And I said, you know what, let me replicate my middle school project, but do it correctly this time. So, and funny enough, actually, in my experiment, it was able to show that black seed was very effective at reducing populations of ampicillin-resistant E. coli strains. So that was a fun project that I did.
I love that your younger self inspired your older self to like continue on the same project. That's like a successful science fair. You know, it's like planting the seed, planting the Nigella seed.
Literally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and ever since then, like any project opportunity I got in any course science related, I would choose black seed actually as my point of like topic. And I just was always so fascinated at how much like literature there was in the Islamic medicine area on this plant. And I just always wanted to understand more about it. So I would say my obsession started from middle school. And I remember like in high school, actually, that's when I found out about you and John from Learning Herbs. And kind of started learning about herbalism through your postings and websites, whether it be learningherbs.com and Aviva Ram and some of these other big names in the space, and kind of self-studied during high school and took like online courses and things of that sort. Whenever we went to a bookstore, I would beg my mom to buy me all the herb books.
Did she love that though? She was like,
she loved it. Yes. And she was my funder, you know, in the background. Whenever I wanted to buy a class, it would always be like, you know, the holiday gift would be her paying for the tuition for like the online herb class or something like that. So she was a huge supporter and big fan of it. And she loved so much that I was into this. But in undergrad, I didn't actually study something that was herbal related because my, like others in the, like, I guess you could say college mentoring circles would be like, oh, that's not a career path. You can't do that. Like, what are you going to make money with herbs? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So I actually studied genomics, bioinformatics and genomics for undergrad, which felt left field. It was still very helpful as a science, but I hated it. I did not enjoy at all the study of genomics. And especially bioinformatics, it's like very analytical and my brain is not very mathematical type of person. So then I remember I had like a existential crisis, basically like junior year of undergrad. And during this whole time, I was still studying herbs on the side, like for fun, because I just love it. Every single winter break, summer break I got from school, I would immerse myself in herbalism. And it felt like I was living a double life. Like I had this like official degree life and the herbal life. And it just felt so like disingenuous and as if I wasn't actually doing what my soul wanted me to do. And I remember I was crying to my mom junior year of undergrad, and I was telling her, I hate this. I hate my life. I just want herbs to be my thing. And she was like, well, why don't you switch in grad school? Like grad school can be a way for you to like pivot careers. And she was like, how about we look for grad school programs that are the most adjacent to herbal medicine? And so then we thought of nutrition. And that's actually why I pivoted into a PhD in nutrition. Honestly, I had no idea what I was going to do with nutrition. I didn't even know that registered dietitians existed.
Oh, wow.
And here I am. I'm a registered dietitian. But I literally just went down that path because I was like, nutrition is the foundation of herbalism. Like herbalism and nutrition go hand in hand. So if I can understand that, it brings me one step closer to what I really want to do. And here I am. So, yeah.
Yeah. Any regrets, Abrar, doing the nutrition?
Not at all. No, I'm really grateful because it really, really helps to integrate the herbalism into lifestyle and not just it being like something in addition, but rather it blends so well with nutrition. I mean, so many herbs can be used in culinary purposes medicinally, right? And I think that the treatment plans that I formulate for my patients are so much more effective because I have such a strong nutrition, like physiology understanding. The herbal medicine like meshes so well with that. So I'm really glad I did end up doing it that way, but it was a very windy road to get there.
Yeah. The nutrition, I just think that is such a powerful combination there. And that's like anybody who's listening knows probably food is medicine is one of my biggest passions too, because I love how much herbs we can actually get in food and we make it enjoyable. We make it a tradition. We make it connected to our ancestry, to our families, to our seasons. Like it has so many layers of meaning, which means to me that can be so many layers of healing as well.
Yes.
So it's just way more exciting. I mean, I take capsules every day. I'm not going to poo-poo capsules, but there's like a big difference between throwing back some capsules and sitting down to a meal that's just complete nourishment that has so much meaning to it.
Yeah. And the capsules can't replace the nutrition foundation.
Yeah.
They can only augment it. Yeah.
Right.
And me too. Love my capsules as well, but they can only hold so much weight. They can't be the foundation. And so that's where, understanding how to build and how to help people build a strong foundation, I think is really powerful for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm glad that the plants called you in such a strong way. And they kept calling to you. And I love that you had your mom as a funder and an inspiration as well. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think, I remembered also one small little thing too, an integral part to this whole journey is that around that same time during undergrad, when I was really questioning what I was doing, I visited my grandmother overseas, and I asked her whether she remembered like herbal history in her family lineage. And I don't know why I never thought of asking that before, but at the time she was like, oh yeah, your great-great-grandma, she was the herbalist of the village in Palestine.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what? And she went on to tell me stories about how she used to treat parasitic infections and how she used to help women with birthing. It seemed like she kind of played an herbalist midwife type of combo role. And so that was really also like, it's like, it's in my bloodline. I must do it now. That was also very inspiring to hear that story from her.
Oh, that's like the dream. I think all of us want to believe, and probably is true for all of us. Like no matter how many generations we have to go back, that there's, our great great grandmother, perhaps grandfather, who's the healer and the herbalist, and we all have it in us somewhere. But to like get that connection and hear about it is really special.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like my knowledge of black seed is that, I mean, when you read about it, it's just like superlative after superlative and just like how amazing this plant is. And like you said, it's really revered. And so I was really excited that you chose the plant. And I'm curious, just because you've already touched on this, of just like how that reflects in your, I guess you've already kind of talked on this, but how it reflects to your ancestry. I'm imagining, that it might be a connection for the diaspora to have this plant that goes back for generations and is so much a part of the culture. So I'm curious about that. I'm sure we're going to get into all the like benefits and gifts, but I was just kind of curious about that for you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for bringing that up, because it truly is like, I love the quote about it from, and I pulled it up here from like the traditional Islamic medicine texts, where specifically it says, use the black seed because it contains a cure for every type of ailment except for death. And it's I think when I read that, it really brings on the notion of very strong resilience. And the reason being is because, and this is a belief that we believe very strongly, not just in Islamic medicine, but also where it's traditionally grown in Palestine. And of course it grows in many other regions too, but In Palestinian culture, especially, like we mix it heavily with foods. There's a town in Palestine named Nablus, and there's a type of cheese called Nablus cheese, and the whole main characteristic of it is that it's mixed with black seed. It's like freckled with black seeds in the cheese. And kind of the common or strong belief that we all have with black seed is that if it doesn't work for an ailment, it's because we haven't figured it out yet. And it's the plant can do it. We just haven't figured out how to get the plant, how to figure out how to use it in a way that is going to be useful for that ailment. And I think that is such a testament to the Palestinian spirit as well, that to keep trying and keep persevering, and no matter how many obstacles are in our way, we just need to keep figuring it out and need to keep trying and keep resisting, the erasure of our land and our heritage and our culture. And black seed being kind of that even the mentality of how to use black seed, and that it never will fail you no matter how hard, as long as you keep trying, I think is a testament to the environment it grows in and the people that revere it. So I think it's a way to keep, thank you so much. It's a way to keep connecting also to like the land that we've been kicked out of, I think that, like, I will never forget when I visited my grandmother in Saudi Arabia, because she was first born and raised in Jaffa, which is like next to Jerusalem. And then she was kicked out to Gaza and then kicked out to Saudi Arabia. And I remember Saudi Arabia is like hot desert, very different topography than Palestine, very different. Palestine is very similar to California weather and topography. And so you'll find, like, just like how in California and the West Coast, you'll find like orange trees and pomegranate trees and just growing everywhere. It's the same thing in Palestine. But in Saudi Arabia, absolutely not. It's like palm trees and that's it. You don't really find much else. So when I visited her in Saudi Arabia, I remember explicitly how I was amazed that she, by some miracle, I don't know how she did this, was able to grow so many of the Palestinian plants and herbs in Saudi Arabia, in the desert. And I was like, Grandma, how on earth are you doing that? How did you grow a pomegranate tree and a fig tree in the desert? How are you able to grow some black seed flowers in the desert? And again, I think it's just a testament to, you can't ever take the land out of the people, even if you take the people out of the land. And the diaspora hold it very dear and near to their hearts, especially this plant.
I feel like it's one of the most revered plants. Through, like, I think of like Tulsi being that way. I think of reishi being that way. In some ways, I think of dandelion being that way. But black seed just feels up there. Like there's something about it. Not that it's better or worse than any other plants out there. I don't want any other plants to take offense. But there's something about it that really holds just a very strong force within it.
Yeah, exactly. And I even recall kind of another story that really speaks to, I think, how strongly black seed is felt as a not just medicinal healing plant, but also it's like a spiritual connection too. So my mother actually used to always tell us of the story, because she felt it was such a cool, like, miraculous story, where she, after giving birth to like my second or third sister, she had like this skin overgrowth that was painful and sensitive to the touch, like on her thigh. And she said how the doctor said she has to get it surgically removed. They didn't really know exactly what it was. And she was so really afraid of having surgery. She really didn't want to go down that route. So she spent the next 2 months, like in between that time and her surgery date, every day boiling black seeds and putting like a cotton ball and applying it to that area multiple times a day, every day, until it eventually shrunk. And it's amazing. It completely went away and she never needed to do the surgery. But she doesn't attribute that to just the medicinal properties of black seed. She always will say, that was because spiritually I knew black seed would help me. And I think there's a difference between just kind of ascribing it as a medication versus knowing inside of you that this plant is a part of you and you are a part of it, and it's going to do what it needs to do for you.
I love that so much, Abrar, because that's speaking to the relationship with the plants, this reciprocal relationship. And that's what I think a beautiful transformation I felt myself within herbalism. Like I began studying herbalism as kind of like herbs as drugs in a sense of just like, okay, I'm going to take this thing and then it's going to make me feel this way and it's going to make me better, which is, and sometimes that does happen. Like you can take ginger and feel less nauseous, you know, that it's not like that never happens, but to enter into that relationship where you're, believe in the plants, you're attending the plants, you're working with the plants in a way that you can't help but form an intimacy with them because you're smelling them, you're tasting them, you're taking them, you're relying on them. And yeah, that's a very powerful shift. And that story really illustrates that relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that I'm really lucky to have seen that example growing up. I think is I've always seen plants as they are, even like religiously, we grew up with like, these are gifts that God has given you to learn from, not just use, not just take from the land and just like distribute for your own gain, but to actually like observe and learn and take lessons from how the plants are grown and how they help you in your body, and that they don't help you unless you have that connection spiritually and that belief that they were made to do that. So yeah,
they are living beings. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, it's Rosalee. You know, creating this podcast has been one of the most rewarding parts of my herbal work. And if you found something meaningful here, whether it's a new perspective, a favorite recipe, or just a sense of calm, I want to let you know there's a good way to go even deeper. It's called the Podcast Circle. Inside, you'll get access to live classes taught by some of my favorite herbal teachers, behind-the-scenes updates, and a beautiful library of herbal resources that we've gathered over the years. But more than that, it's a space to connect with fellow plant lovers who care about the same things you do. And truly, your membership helps make this podcast possible. It's how we keep the episodes coming and the herbal goodness flowing. So if you're ready to be part of something more, something rooted in connection, head over to herbalpodcastcircle.com. I'd love to see you there. I'd love to dive into black seed and wherever you want to go next in terms of maybe how you work with it or things that stand out with you with the medicinal aspects of black seed.
Yeah, so I'll mention like a couple like home remedy uses that we grew up with, and then I'll shift into like what actually Islamic medicine traditionally from like thousands of years ago, what the original uses were, and then into the research uses. So
all right,
maybe that'll be the nicest way to cover it. If I'm talking too long, though, feel free to let me know.
I'm so excited.
Okay, sounds great. So the reason why I like the date recipe is because that's actually oftentimes, especially as kids, having herbs mixed with date paste or herbs mixed with honey is one of the most common traditional uses, especially for black seed, because it does have a little bit of bitterness, especially for younger ones that they don't really enjoy. So oftentimes I recall my family members, especially my mother and grandmother, they would, if they wanted to like quickly have a medicinal dose of it, like especially if there was a cough, bronchitis is kind of a main one that I remember them using it for often and giving it to us. They would grind the seeds or have the powder, and then they would mix it with some warmed honey and just like eat it at the spoonful. And it actually makes sense with the traditional use because a lot of the literature online says that the medicinal dose is like 2 grams, 3 grams, which is really, really small quantities. But if you dive into the like original Islamic medicine literature, it's actually 25 grams. So, yeah, much bigger quantity, which is about like 3.5 tablespoons. So for bronchitis, shortness of breath, if you want to use it like for acute purposes quickly, you do like larger boluses of the powder mixed in, usually with honey. And then sometimes you'll find, like, especially in Middle Eastern markets, even here in the US, if you walk in, you'll find what they call like black seed paste. And that typically is like black seed powder mixed in with like tahini usually, or tahini and honey, or tahini and black seed oil and black seed powder. So you can totally make this at home as well. It's not that difficult. And same thing, you can, sometimes I've seen folks dissolve it in warm water and drink it that way, or just take it by the spoonfuls. But typically it's always consumed ground up and or boiled. You don't just crunch the seeds, which makes sense. They're pretty hard and you can't really extract much if you just take it that way. So yeah, I think coughs and bronchitis and like shortness of breath and asthma were kind of the main things growing up using it. And also like skin manifestations, like the story I mentioned with my mom, or even like when my younger sister had eczema. I'm not sure if there's probably research. There's every type of research article on black seed, but I'm not sure how strong the research is on eczema and black seed. But she would rub the oil on her eczema, for example, as a moisturizer as well. And again, for also with the spiritual intent of like, this is a, revered plant that God has told us that is revered and to honor it. And therefore, by that, I, spiritually believe it will heal the eczema. So that's also like a big part of its traditional use. And I think it's important not to tease that apart. But yeah, those are kind of the main things growing up. Now, in terms of
I have a question, if you don't mind, about
yes,
the black seed oil. So black seed oil, is that like a cold press oil, like similar to like rosehip seed oil?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I actually saw them make it once in the market, in like I think it was a market in Turkey that I saw them actually like make it in front of me. But yeah, it's cold pressed exactly like that, and there's like a kind of machine that will cold press the seeds, and then you'll see a big long tube of the dried seeds coming out and the oil coming out on the other side.
Oh, cool.
And so you'll have the crushed seeds kind of separated from the oil. But yes. Exactly.
Well, that would be amazing to see at a market, because then you get like the fresh oil.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I did buy it at the time. I was like, give me that oil. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And then that's well, and you mentioned it too, like that could be mixed into well, did you say that might be mixed into tahini? Like that could be taken internally as well as used externally.
Yeah. They're very much used interchangeably. And even in the traditional literature, the ground seeds and the oil are like commonly interchangeably used. There are some specific indications that I'll mention right now where the oil is like particularly used as an eardrop or nose drops.
Okay.
But otherwise, even in the scientific literature, it's really fascinating. They've found that you can replicate the efficacy with both. And so there was like a really big meta-analysis of more than 50 studies for like cardiovascular disease benefits of black seed oil, looking at like LDL, HDL, cholesterol metrics, blood pressure. And the studies had a wide variety like of special extracted oils, just regular black seed cold press oil, just the black seed powder, a standardized extract of the powder, and they all basically functioned pretty much the same. So that's the nice thing, is whatever you kind of have access to is fine. But
lovely, thank you.
Yeah, and I will add though to that the antioxidant, one of the phytonutrients in there that's most bioactive is called thymoquinone. And if I'm recalling correctly, it is mostly fat soluble alongside with some of the omega-6s and omega-9s in the plant. And so I guess if someone was wanting to use it as a potent antioxidant, perhaps an oil like fat-based extraction could help more. But you could make the argument that maybe you could take it like vitamin D, where you just have to take it with a fat-soluble meal, and the powder would be fine as well. So I think that either way would probably work. Yeah. So that's from kind of the basic starting points. Now, some of the other interesting traditional uses that are interestingly like more acute, and then a lot of the research literature is more for chronic conditions. So I thought that was kind of a nice difference there that we can learn from. But black seed is hot and dry, and it is pretty strongly hot and dry. In Islamic medicine, it's like categorized hot and dry to the third degree. There's like, they kind of categorize as like degrees of strength of the energetics. And interestingly, it's mentioned that you can combine it even though it's hot and dry. But if someone has a cold even if it is manifesting with hot symptoms, but if you combine a small amount of the black seed with other herbs, you can use it as a synergist to deliver the herbs more effectively. Kind of like ginger.
Ginger, I was good. Yeah, ginger. That's exactly what
Yeah,
came to mind.
exactly. Yes, yes. So I thought that was really interesting. That's a common like traditional use of it as well. And it's recommended when you do that, it's like smaller dosages, not the 25 grams. And then also, it is often recommended for like colic, gas, interestingly, for intestinal parasites, it's like combined with, it's boiled with vinegar, then used as a compress actually topically. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
But it's classically would be mentioned to use when there's excess moisture of the stomach, or basically, I guess, lots of secretions, that you can ingest black seed ground with honey and warm water to help with that. And then interestingly, the ground black seed with honey and warm water was also traditionally documented for use of kidney and prostate stones as well. And to break those apart, and it specifically quotes, dissolves the stones that appear in the kidney and the prostate, and is diuretic as well. And by the way, to kind of mention as well, what am I quoting from? This book here, Medicine of the Prophet. It's a very old, very classic Islamic medicine text. It's actually was authored in the 1300s. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So Ibn al-Qayyim he's the author of this book. It was originally in Arabic, and this is the English translation, but I also have the original Arabic text next to me here. And he was an Islamic scholar of like religion and theology and whatnot, and also an Islamic medicine scholar. So he did both. So he authored this book. Basically, at the time, in the 1300s, there wasn't like one publication that summarized Islamic medicine very well. So that was basically his goal by putting this all together, is to like combine all of the literature into one. So it became a timeless piece for sure. So when I'm quoting, that's where I'm quoting from specifically. And by the way, this is like free PDF online, very easy to find.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm already like really into looking that up. So thank you for that tip too.
Of course. So I thought it was also really interesting on how flexible its usage is. And I think also that's what I've seen with my family and how they use it too, whether it be rubbing it topically, boiling and putting a little like pad and applying it to the skin, or ingesting it. There's like so many different ways that it's used. And that's also how it's outlined in the text here. Because even for example, they mentioned if you have a lot of cold symptoms with congestion, it's recommended that you put like a rag infused in black seed water, and then you inhale it, interestingly. So I think that was also very interesting. And doing that, they said, on a regular basis, the ailment of the cold will be cured, is how it's phrased. And the oil was also mentioned for like using on like skin manifestations like hemorrhoids or ulcers and spots, very generic, but basically, I guess, overgrowths. And it's also mentioned that for asthma specifically, so going back to kind of the bronchitis, this is what I thought was interesting because it's matched what my grandmother and mother used to do. It says that you must use 25 grams, and it has to be drunk with like warm water. You can add honey if you want. And that will help with like the immediate sense of like if someone's gasping and they're just like hungry for air and they're just not able to find the air. It's like a fast remedy to help with that. If at least you have to reach that 25-gram dose. So that was emphasized a lot. Like you have to reach the dose for that to work. So I think that, the topic of colds, asthma, allergies comes up a lot in the text. And specifically, this actually was mentioned in this text and this one that's unfortunately not in English, but they both mention here that black seed is particularly helpful for conditions with lots of sneezing. So if you're like sneezing profusely, yes, whether it be a cold or allergies related sneezing, they mentioned that It's a very interesting preparation, though. It's not the same as the rest. They said that you have to fry it. You have to fry the seeds first, then you grind the seeds, and then you soak them in oil. And I guess for extra benefit, you can soak them in black seed oil. And then you apply like 3 drops into each nostril of the nose, and that should stop the sneezing. And the specific amount of black seeds, because in this book it doesn't say how much black seed per oil, so then I referenced this other book that's in Arabic for that. And they mentioned that the original story by which this was done about 1400 years ago was they took about 5 to 7 black seeds and did this frying, grinding. So it's not that much, it's just like a small quantity, but you use that whole quantity to then put in a small droplet of oil and put up the nose. So that was interesting that I saw that kind of replicated in multiple classical texts.
I'm fascinated about that.
Yeah, I know. I was sneezing so much this morning. I was like, I'm going to do this today. So I'll let you know. Because it escaped me, I guess, the sneezing piece. I never even recognized that strongly until I went back to review some of the older literature, and I was like, sneezing, that's interesting. And then lastly, I think also interestingly that another common preparation is with vinegar. So you find that not much in the research literature, but it is very oftenly mentioned in the traditional literature, where they say you can cook the black seeds in vinegar and then you can use it as a mouthwash to stop cold sensitivity to your teeth.
Ooh.
So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And for toothache, but specifically toothaches related to cold sensitivity. And then it also was mentioned that same preparation with the vinegar can be used for exposed ulcers on the skin to heal those up as well, and to also decompose mucus tumors and hard tumors. But of course, it's a bit general, so I'm not recommending that someone use this as a sole cancer treatment, but basically benign overgrowth, it seems, was helpful for as well, which is interestingly kind of what my mom's story was about as well. Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And the other kind of fascinating piece was it also was used for facial paralysis. The black seed oil applied in the nose actually was used for facial paralysis, interestingly.
Kind of like a Bell's palsy or maybe stroke or okay.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't mention at the time, obviously this is from the 1300s, what specific facial paralysis, but yes, I think that definitely, given how harmless it is, I just feel like, why not? Since no one will have any interaction or issue from a few drops of black seed oil into your nose. And so I just thought that it was so interesting because the nose application was mentioned so many times, whether it be for the paralysis or the intensive sneezing or even the inhaling it with the rag for the cold symptoms and the congestion. So there seems to definitely be a wisdom behind application into the nasal cavity with black seed. So I thought that was interesting as well. But yeah, so those are kind of the main things. There's some other random, very interesting stories like application with rabies and whatnot, but I think we have better medications for those now.
Good call.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So this was kind of like Islamic medicine. We're looking back hundreds of years. We're also thinking about your family and how you've seen it used traditionally in your family. And my takeaway is really a lot of for the coughs, congestion, lungs, but also for skin, for overgrowths. And then all this smattering of things like for kidney stones, digestion. And I love that you had the energetic specifics on that. And then for even oral health and then putting in the nose for sneezing, I really want to remember this in the future.
Yes.
Yeah, and other applications too, and via the nostrils. It sounds very fascinating. So yeah. Wow, I'm telling you, I've always known this about black seed. It just feels like there's so much under the sun that people reach for black seed for.
So much. Yeah. Whenever someone asks me hey, does black seed help with this? I'm like, probably. We can probably find some sort of study, because also since it's so revered in Islamic medicine, a lot of universities in the Middle East have put a lot of research funding into it as well. So oftentimes when you open PubMed studies on black seed, you'll be like, how on earth did this one plant get this much research funds? And it's because of its traditional like history there and its reverence. And it's kind of spiritual. It's almost looked at as like a pious spiritual act to research this plant. So that's also kind of a big motivation why much of the Islamic countries put resources into researching this plant. Yeah. But
It makes me think of turmeric, and turmeric kind of being similar, just this highly studied plant that's also highly revered. And also, people reach for that for many different things as well.
Yeah, exactly. You can
I actually wonder if those are the two most researched herbs.
Probably, honestly.
Yeah, I want to look into that. I'm not saying they are, but that wouldn't surprise me if those were our two most researched herbs. And I kind of feel like they're like this, and then like the next tier is like down here. It's like
exactly.
there's a big gap there.
Huge. Yeah, exactly. Which brings me to the research literature. If you wanted me to mention that,
yes, with more chronic issues, which I think is fascinating.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's specifically in the chronic disease realm, it's the highest grade evidence. Of course, like I said, there's like thousands of studies, so you can find a study for almost anything. But I'm kind of pulling on what studies have replicated the most similar results. So looking at kind of the chronic disease area, the ones that have converged to like the highest efficacy outcomes with black seed have been cardiovascular disease outcomes. So a wide variety of cardiovascular disease outcomes. So a lot of the cholesterol metrics that I mentioned earlier, blood pressure, even like inflammation of the blood vessels, which is really interesting. Type 2 diabetes, hemoglobin A1C, like reducing that. So all of those have pretty like strong research data of black seed's benefits. Weight support. Of course, again, like it's not a weight loss pill on its own. No pill without a skill, as I like to say. So in combination with nutrition.
Nutritionist.
Yes. So it can be really helpful too. And for those, the doses really mostly span between 1,000 to 3,000 milligrams or 1 to 3 grams, so much less than the 25 gram. And I think for acute purposes, the 25 grams makes sense. And you don't have to go that far for like type 2 diabetes or cholesterol support or blood pressure support, because the research is pretty good at these smaller doses, and we don't want to be wasting the plant if it's not necessary, obviously. The 2 grams, interestingly, was shown to be effective, like I said, with both oil and powder. So either one is fine. Oh yeah, allergy symptoms was actually also another highly researched like effective outcome. And they looked at it in multiple contexts and in conjunction with allergy medications alone. And they found it to be also efficacious and similar dosing, around 2 grams. And from my clinical experience, like in the practice, we've used it in that context a lot too. So the primary context that we've used black seed has been asthma, allergies, or asthma, specifically allergies with asthma, I think, or like allergies with bronchitis is typically what I think of. I don't usually go for it strictly for allergies alone. And then high blood pressure. And even my patients who don't have high blood pressure, I remember we once had a patient who we wanted to use it for asthma, and then her blood pressure got too low when she used the black seed, which I wouldn't say is necessarily common, but some people, I guess, who are ultra sensitive can have that response. So we combined the black seed with licorice, and that balanced it out for her. So that's what we ended up doing. And yeah, it's often a great one, I think, for anyone who is struggling with prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, cholesterol, because we know that all these chronic metabolic conditions are inflammatory in nature. And so it's not like you just have high cholesterol. The elevated cholesterol activates your immune system, and it causes like a chronic inflammatory reaction as well. When you have prediabetes or diabetes and higher blood sugar, even if you don't have those yet, but you have higher blood sugar numbers on average, we know that that's constantly eroding. I tell people it's like if I put syrup down your bathroom pipes, it's going to erode and rust the structure of the pipes. And similarly with your own blood vessels too. And so given that black seed is such a strong antioxidant as well. I think that there's a lot of preventative support that can be used for that. And 2 grams is nothing. It's like a fourth of a teaspoon or something of that sort. So you can easily sprinkle that on a salad, put that into your oatmeal, put that into your smoothie. I mean, it's so easy to integrate also, like as a food, not just a capsule. So
that was actually my next question, is wondering, like, it's just hearing you speak about it. Like, there's herbs for me, like, because heart disease is so rampant and so many, I mean, it is the number one cause of death in this society, and just the whole metabolic disease and inflammatory, all this stuff is just so rampant that I'm often thinking, like, how can people just start welcoming plants into their lives? Is obviously there's nutrition, there's movement, there's many things to consider, sleep, etc. But how can we just welcome things into our lives joyfully? So for me, I think about hawthorn. That's an obvious one. I think about turmeric. I think about tulsi. All the herbs really have such a, wonderful effect. But I'm wondering that about black seed, of like, because as you speak about it, I was thinking like, oh, like in the mornings we often have this curried veggie egg scramble. We put like cumin and fennel and all sorts of herbs in there. Like, there goes our, I can put a half teaspoon of black seed in there, no problem.
Yeah, very
Just
easy to do.
delicious, preventive, joyful.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of has like a pungent aroma, it works really well in savory type of dishes. So yeah, and even in like the date ball recipe, I combine it with like cardamom.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
And
Yeah, let's talk about your date recipe, because sounds so lovely.
yes,
Yeah, will
yes.
you just walk us through that? And for anyone listening or watching, you can download your own illustrated recipe card. Either check out the show notes for a link or go to herbswithrosaleepodcast.com. But I want to hear it from you, Abrar.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, this was more so inspired from like how my grandmother and mother would administer black seed to us, especially as kids. So like I said, oftentimes we'd combine the powder with date paste or honey. So obviously, if you're diabetic or you struggle with blood sugar, maybe a modified version of this would be best, where instead of dates, you could do tahini paste instead. Excellent source of unsaturated fats that is wonderful, also cardiovascular disease prevention. So you can totally play around with this recipe and make it more of like a tahini paste inspired one. The almond butter and the olive oil in the recipe are meant to kind of give the date paste less of a sticky and more of a smooth, silky nature. So oftentimes with many Arab date desserts, you will find an oil is integrated into the date paste always to make it more silky. And that makes it very buttery tasting almost and delicious. And then the black seed, like I said, it kind of has, at least to me, there's a little bit of like bitterness aftertaste to it. So I do really like it with other pungent aromatics like cinnamon and cardamom. I feel like it really, and oftentimes in traditional Arab desserts, it's mixed in with these spices or other similar spices, like cloves, or you can replace them for other spices that you wish. It doesn't have to be cinnamon and cardamom, but I think the nice thing is also cinnamon does also have blood sugar lowering effects, although with the dates, maybe not a great idea, instead doing the tahini there. And so that's kind of the idea behind the combination with the other spices as well. And I love rose water in desserts, but I put it there as like an optional if someone doesn't like it. But I think that it's a classic, like a lot of Palestinian and other Arab desserts are classically like given rose water scent or rose water taste to them. So it wouldn't be the same without the rose water.
Yeah, definitely do the rose water, folks.
Yes, yes.
I already talked to you about it. It jumped out at me. I was like, ooh,
Yes,
so
yes.
lovely.
It elevates it and makes it just so delicious, like pungent. It's like pungent floral, like all the different mixtures together. And I do really like mixing it with nuts as well. So it becomes really nutritious too. I think that this is such a wonderful recipe also for someone who might be recovering from like a cold or infection. Easy way to get nutrition, and it's medicinal, and you can up the quantity of the black seed powder totally to like match more of like the higher level dosing in replacement of the other powders instead. So you can totally play around with this. And it's the nice thing is you can't really mess it up. Like if you put a little too much powder, just add a little more date paste. You can't really go wrong. And I think that because it packs such a nutritional punch as well, especially if you combine it with nuts and the dates. And if you want it to be a little more protein packed, you can use almonds instead of walnuts. That way you will get like an energy boost. Let's say you're working a shift, or you want something as a quick snack as you're hiking and you need like a carb. This can be a really nice thing to have in your pouch. So yeah.
I love it as a hiking snack. That's lovely.
Yeah, it would be very yummy. And oftentimes, my mother would pack these as like treats on the go. And I think there's such a wonderful activity for kiddos to do with them, because it's a wonderful way it feels like you're eating candy. I mean, as a kid, honestly. So it doesn't feel like anything else. You don't think about the medicinal properties as a child, but I think can be such a wonderful way to like incorporate kids with herbal medicine. I remember between me and my youngest sister, there's a 14-year age gap. So it kind of felt like I raised her a little bit too. And when I was in my herbal journey in high school, she was like 6 years old or so. And so she would like be really intrigued, like, what am I doing in the kitchen, mixing some herbs and making some balls or pastes or whatnot. And I often would tell her to like, come do it with me. And till this day, she loves taking herbs because it reminds her of like the fun she had with her sister growing up. And I think those core memories and bonds can also be beautiful to do, and very nutritious, and can replace the Sour Patches instead.
Yeah. My dear family friends, they're farmers, and they prefer their kids to get their sweets through foods, and they are going to love this recipe. So
yes, that sounds great. But yeah.
Well, I'm excited to hear what people get from this recipe, the deliciousness, the healing nutrition. So when you make the recipe, please let us know in the comments and share your experience. And sometimes people sharing their experience is what then inspires someone else to actually give the recipe a try. So please do. And Abrar, this has been fabulous, sharing all this about Nigella, black seed. I have a question for you. So when I like in my younger herbal years, I thought that love in a mist, the plant love in a mist, was black seed, and it's not. It's a similar but different species. But and I would grow it, and it's such a beautiful flower, and it's so much fun. But I don't think I have actually any experience specifically growing black seed. Do you? Do you grow it?
I really want to. I honestly haven't. I just recently relocated to California. It's temporary move. So now I can try finally. But I was always in either the harsh winters of Chicago or Pennsylvania. I mean, I was in North Carolina for a hot minute during my schooling, but I was so engrossed in my schooling. I have found it in botanical gardens, and I have taken many pictures with it because I love it. But unfortunately, I am not a grower of it yet. But it is definitely, I have some of the seeds for growing here in the cabinet, and it is on my bucket list to start trying to do soon.
Okay,
So
well, that's fun. Maybe I'll check back in with you about that, see how it goes.
Yes, I'll have to let you know. But my grandma would probably be great to ask that question too. I should have asked her before this podcast. But I'll probably take some tips from her when I try to grow it myself.
Yeah, well, that'll make it all the more lovely as well.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to share about black seed before we move on?
I think that covers most of it.
You've covered a lot, so this has been really cool. I'm excited just to bring this into my life more regularly. Like I was saying, we can put it in our breakfast stir fries, put it on salads, like you mentioned. I like that. Do you think you could use the oil in the salad dressing, or is it? Yeah, like maybe even a smaller amount or something. Like mix it with olive oil, or
for sure. And whatever, I'm not sure how much 2 grams of oil is, but it's not a lot. So even if you drizzle it, that should be pretty medicinal level dose too. And since the composition of it is primarily omega-6 and omega-9s, It is more prone to oxidation. So kind of similarly to how you don't want to like overheat olive oil, I wouldn't want to overheat black seed oil
So it's good
or
in the salad, actually. Maybe
yeah,
keep it in
yeah.
the fridge, maybe.
Yes, exactly. So it is recommended to keep in a dark, cool place
Mm.
and best enjoyed colder or warmed, I guess, but
Yeah,
not
and
hot.
buy in
Yeah,
small amounts. That's also generally my ticket
correct.
with that too. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Well, I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to this.
Yeah, likewise. And I guess one random other thing I forgot to mention, it is also traditionally used as a galactagogue. So
Oh,
I think this recipe is amazing for breastfeeding mamas because their
oh,
nutrition needs are super high. And
yeah.
this is a great, nutrition packed support that can be helpful too. So
That's a delightful treat as well.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yes. So I'll leave it at that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, we got to hear about your path. We got to hear about going back to your science fair in sixth and seventh grade and how that, has stayed with you and how your plant path has evolved. And you went to your undergrad, you got your PhD in nutrition. And now I feel like it's time to go for like the rest of your plant path because you have your own center that you've opened. You work with other people there. And I would love to hear about all of that and just how you serve people now in your role as herbalist and nutritionist.
Yeah. So when I was getting close to graduating from my PhD, I knew that that's what I had to do, what I wanted to do all along.
Mm.
I think if you had asked me way back when to like tell you what I was most passionate about, it would have been to have some sort of practice or center or something to serve the public in this way. So we're a group practice now. I used to be solo, but I, over the years, um, had some teammates that were like-minded join in with me. So that has been really nice and rewarding and very amazing to be able to have like-minded colleagues to also brainstorm ideas. And we work very collaboratively as a team. So the name of the practice is Precision Women's Care. We are specialized in women's health specifically. So I'm sorry to the guys out there, but the articles and blogs that you can find are on our website, precisionwomenscare.com, will be applicable to a lot of people. But basically, the premise of the practice is we're all registered dietitians and herbalists, and we do not practice them in silos or separately. So every single session of ours is a combination of the two. And a big mission of mine and all of us in the practice, we're a total team of 4, is to teach people how to be their own little herbalists at home, not just give them herbs. I think that's so important because that's what's missing from the medical model, like being able to empower people on how to be their own healers, how to take care of themselves and their families. And instead, we want to make sure that we build a model where, okay, it's not like provider and providee relationship only, and you just listen to whatever I tell you and go home. But it's rather, we are educating. Every session is a chance to educate, to counsel, understand, like, how are the behaviors happening? Why do you feel this way about this behavior or that? Why is something such a big barrier? Not to judge, not to, shame at all ever, but to actually understand, like, how did we get here, right? I often tell patients, like, your body doesn't just decide to stop working. It slowly builds compensation mechanisms that just aren't serving it anymore. And we need to just understand how it got to that point and figure out a way to re-educate it to a new perspective of living that is more helpful to you right now. And that's basically the whole kind of goal of the team, is to help to serve patients in that way. And there's a couple different things that we're also working on. So in terms of like serving patients and the public, we do accept insurance. So not all insurances, but we do accept Blue Cross Blue Shield and Aetna insurance. And that's kind of, I wanted to always make sure we can accept some sort of insurance because I wanted to keep that accessibility. And sadly, not all insurances have great nutrition coverage anyway, so it can't, it doesn't work to be a network with all of them because some of them have ridiculous restrictions, like you must only come to us after you've been diabetic and have kidney disease, which is not very preventative, right? So, but yeah, we have we have that option if someone it has those insurance plans. Otherwise, there's obviously the cash pay options, and we're flexible with payment plans and stuff like that. And usually our sessions are always like 60 to 90 minutes long because, again, we value education and getting you to actually understand not just how your treatment works, but how has this condition that you're having right now manifested. Like, I think a big part of like anyone who joins the team in the practice is you have to know your biochemistry so well that you can distill it and teach it in third grade format to anybody that comes to you. And I think that is true empowerment, when the patient can understand, like, oh, I actually get what A1C is and how it actually works and how did it get higher and how it resets every 3 months and exactly all the intricacies that go into that. Then they know how to tailor and change their treatment approach as time moves on. Because I always tell people, like, you don't want me to be your crutch. You want me to be a guide that empowers you for life. And so our main kind of mission is to make sure that every session is always education. And counseling, of course, is part of our big approach, nutrition counseling and understanding like behavior change, and weaving herbs into that as a lifestyle. So, of course, we'll use capsules when we have to, and tinctures and things like that. We do custom formula, like we work with a compounding formulary that helps to custom formulate too for us. But a big part of it is also making sure, like, I think the best example I can give is like a story of a patient who, she came to me with debilitating GI symptoms. They were so bad she'd be bedridden or fainting sometimes from them. And many of my teammates have seen they've had similar cases as well. And the beautiful thing is that over time, as we worked together for about a year and a half, she learned how to build her own little apothecary. We would talk about how an herb can help, and she'd be like, okay, how exactly do I use this herb? How much exactly? And how much should I steep sage tea for? And I'm like, well, it's okay if it goes a little bit beyond a 20-minute steep. It's not the end of the world, and you can have it in ice cubes and have it as an iced latte instead of just like a traditional, hot tea. That's also okay. And so kind of talking about how herbs can be used and played with at home. And accessibility is a really big part of what we do too. So meaning if someone can't afford to buy a product, okay, I'll just teach you how to make a tincture. That's fine. That's much cheaper. And let's do it. Let's spend the session talking about how to make a tincture. Let's go into your kitchen. Let's make a tincture together. And I think that really also makes it so much more accessible, and not just for the privileged to be able to access these medicines. And over time, this patient, the more and more herbs that she got to play with, and whenever she'd ask me for like rigid guidelines, I'd kind of keep it loose on purpose. Tell her, well, try it this way and try it that way and see how your body responds. You're the best expert of you, and you'll be able to tell. And I think that's what a lot of people, they've gone through so much fear in the traditional medical model, unfortunately, of just being told what to do and not being empowered of understanding what their bodily signals and cues actually mean. That herbalism is such a beautiful way to tap back into that body intuition and that body trust, and actually learn what your body's trying to communicate with you, and then respond to it appropriately based off of the different tools that you have, not just one. And then her whole family became mini herbalists with her. She started doing this with everybody, and it became, very fun. They all became obsessed with calamus root, funny enough.
Oh, interesting.
Of all the things.
Yeah, all the things.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's funny that you guys really liked that. But they all suffered with GI issues, ironically. And they found it very, very helpful. Yeah, but I think that's kind of the mainstay of what we do. And we are launching an initiative in 2026 where we will be offering free webinars for the public. So we really, because obviously a lot of the work we do right now is one-on-one, patient care, but we want to be able to like give some of that education to the audiences online, and for the public for free, for those who might not even know what the heck we do and why it's helpful and how powerful this can be. So starting in 2026, we're trying to aim for like a monthly webinar topic where we will discuss like, how do you actually approach, treating or addressing XYZ condition using an integrative nutrition herbal medicine combination lens, and how do you actually start to become your own medicine healer at home. So
Oh my gosh, that's going to
yeah.
be fabulous. Where can people find out more about that? Is there a newsletter or follow you on Instagram, or what do you prefer?
Yeah, so two places. Our Instagram is precision.womens.care. So precision women's care, but just with the dots between the words. So you can find us there. And then you can also go to our website, precisionwomenscare.com. And then if you just scroll all the way to the bottom, there's like a newsletter sign up box, and you can put your email. So if you're not on social media, totally respect that. You can put your email instead. Yeah.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing about that. Thank you to you and your whole team for all the wonderful work you do. And
Thank you.
before you go, I do have one last question for you, Abrar.
Yes. Yeah, please.
That question is, how do herbs instill hope in you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think of it from two perspectives, from like a clinician perspective, and then kind of as a Palestinian in the diaspora perspective. I think I have kind of the feelings of it in those two ways. I think first of all, from a clinician perspective, I can't tell you how many times that we have seen our patients, their entire approach to life has changed from using plants and herbs, because like I was saying earlier, it's forced them to actually start to respect what's being told inwards instead of just putting that respect outwards. And I think that is so powerful, especially when it ripples to the family and extended family members and the communities as well. It's really interesting. Like, we've had many patients where, like, in this, all within, like, we see patients all over the US, but there's certain states, I guess, that like we have more people from. So they're mostly states that I've lived in or my teammates have lived in before. So like North Carolina, Illinois. And it's so fascinating because there's like little community hubs where like they all now know how to use specific herbal medicines because we taught them.
I love
And
that.
to be able to see, how that kind of just rippled across the community is beautiful, and actually gives autonomy back to the person all over again. And I remember a story of a patient not too long ago who we were talking about that connection to plants and how it's not just, you're using something to heal a specific ailment, but having that actual trust in your body and in the plant, and that synergy and symbiosis that's going to happen together, and how that's going to actually be the result of healing when you have that relationship to your medicine. When that medicine has a meaning is when you actually have that healing happen. And I remember when I was telling her about that, and I asked her, I was like, so to build that connection with the herbs, tell me more about what you know about your ancestral like use of plants. And she started crying her eyes out when I asked that question. And she was crying and saying, I don't know anything about my ancestors. And I remember sitting in that moment and thinking, oh my God, why did I ask that? But then also like taking a step back and saying, no, it's okay. It's good that I asked that, because it's sad that she never was connected to her ancestral roots. And this might be a beautiful opportunity to start to explore that. And so we talked about kind of what feelings that brought up and how that connection could be part of her healing journey, because this person had gone through so much trauma as well in her life. And there's a lot of distrust in herself, her body, those around her. And I never would have thought in a million years that me asking about her ancestors' plant traditions would have opened the door for her to go back to her family trees and learn about her family history and start to build a trust for herself and her lineage again, and start to, instead of seeing herself just through the lens of trauma and victimhood, but actually see herself through that lens of empowerment, of strength, of that lineage that she comes from, and actually know who she is and who she's coming from. just never would have thought that plants could open that avenue for her. And I think that's so hopeful and so powerful.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I've got goosebumps. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the power of plants right there.
100%. And I think don't be shy to ask those questions. I think this is what
Yeah.
I learned from that is
Yeah.
even if someone's response is to cry an ocean, it
Well,
can be
obviously,
very
it means a
healing.
lot to her, though, like, that
Yeah.
was yeah, something
Yeah.
that and on some level, she really wanted to explore, so
Exactly, exactly. And the beautiful thing is now I've been seeing her for a little bit over a year now, and she's become quite a little herbalist herself too.
Mm.
She's learned how to make her own tinctures. She has really gotten empowerment in like learning how to treat herself, which is pretty amazing. And I think such an important part of that autonomy journey with trauma healing work too. So that's kind of from a clinician perspective. I think from my own cultural background and heritage perspective as a Palestinian in the diaspora, I think of the examples of really our people, and so many can come to mind, whether it be my grandma growing unheard of plants in the desert, where no matter how much you've displaced her, she didn't know how to use the internet. She had no gardening books. She just knew, like she had that intuition and kept on trying and iterating until she refined that intuition and made it happen. And I think that also gives me hope that no matter where you put us, what you decide to do with us, where you decide to exile our people in different places, you can't remove that ancestral plant wisdom from within us. And that in and of itself is resilience and resistance. And I think a big testament to that too is in the occupied territories of Palestine, foraging is made illegal by the occupation. And so a lot of my family members and my husband's family members, they forage and they know how to forage. And foraging, like for thyme and other plants, is essential to their day-to-day living.
Yeah.
And they still do it, but they do it knowing that they might get sniped and they might get shot at. And that is, again, I think I don't know what is a stronger message to the occupation like that you're under, that even if it means to die to gather my plants, I will.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that I always want to remember for myself, no matter how hard things can get for us in the diaspora. If our family members back home can still endure those types of circumstances, we can get through anything that we need to get through as well. And that we all have to pull through together and not forget that ancestral wisdom. If they're going out of their way to put their lives on the line to keep their traditions, then the least I can do is to keep it as well through the work that I'm doing that is not putting my life on the line, that is very honestly so much lesser of a risk in comparison to them, in the least to educate, to serve my community, to serve people around us, and to constantly elevate those stories. And one last kind of small story that comes to mind with that and the resilience I think that plants show and the hope that they show is I remember I followed this story of he was like a young adult. He was about 19 years old. He went by the name Mito. He has passed away. He was killed in Gaza. So he was in about halfway through the genocide in Gaza is when he was killed. And his videos, though, were one of my favorite that he used to share on his socials, which who knows if those videos are still out there. But his whole videos were about herbs, him planting herbs, and the reason he was planting herbs. And even though he had nothing, he said like he didn't know anything about herbal medicine. He had never planted herbs before the genocide. But in the middle of all the bombings and the terrors of everything that was going on, he wanted some sense of stability and resilience that he can actually see every day. And so he took a small little mint plant and planted it and would tend to it daily. And he called it Minta, like mint, but Minta. And he would video it all the time. And he would say, Minta is this many days old. And he would often say like how just watching his little Minta plant grow day to day gave him so much hope to be able to live to the next day and not give up on living. And I think is such a beautiful testament to how a plant can survive and grow within heavy metal laden soil, poisonous air, constant shelling and fires. And somehow this fragile mint plant can still grow. And I think that's what gave him so much hope, is that, yeah, even with all these horrible circumstances, we can still move on and we can still have resilience and resistance to what is happening. And I think that is so inspiring and hopeful to me as well.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Abrar. That's so, just so touching on so many ways. And yeah, finding those threads of hope and joy through these times that are so intense for you, for your family, for the diaspora, for those in Gaza. I just really appreciate you bringing those stories.
Of course. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you letting me talk about all of the different stories. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing your whole self.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, this has been an amazing time to spend with you. I feel touched in many ways and very excited about Black Seed, and very excited about all the work that you're doing and all the ways that you're serving your community, you and your whole team. Looking forward to those webinars, especially. And yeah, it just feels like an honor for you to be here. I'm so glad that we finally made it happen. It's just been absolutely lovely. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much as well. Thank you you were one of the very first people that called me into this path very, very long ago. So thank you as well for the work that you've done and for all of the tireless efforts and publications that you have put out there too. And it is an honor for it to be full circle now in my older years to come back and be able to have this conversation. So thank you.
Well, that brings me a lot of joy. So thank you.
Of course, of course. It's been an honor chatting with you today, Rosalee.
Likewise, Abrar. As always, thank you so much for listening. You can download your illustrated recipe card from today's episode. Just head over to herbswithrosalieepodcast.com or check out the show notes for a link. And if you're not already subscribed, I'd love to have you as part of this herbal community so I can deliver even more herbal goodies your way. This podcast is made possible in part by our awesome students. This week's student spotlight is on Brett Torrey Haynes in Hawaii. Brett is a Rooted Medicine Circle student and a member of our podcast circle. A lifelong plant lover and creative, Brett weaves herbal medicine together with art and journaling and self-tending, especially with highly sensitive souls in mind. His capstone project for Rooted Medicine Circle, the Needed Center, is an online space designed to encourage gentle personal growth through plants, creativity, and care. Brett worked closely with his plant ally, mamaki, a native plant to Hawaii that he describes as calming to the heart and soothing to the soul. Through tending his own mamaki plants, Brett explored reciprocity, relationship, and the deep wisdom of local plant allies. His reflections remind us that herbalism is not just about using plants, but about sharing their gifts and gratitude with love. To honor his contributions, Mountain Rose Herbs is sending Brett a $50 gift certificate to stock up on their incredible selection of organically and sustainably sourced herbal supplies. Thank you so much to Mountain Rose Herbs for supporting our amazing students. And if you'd like to be an herbalist, you can check out my foundational courses at herbswithrosalie.com. Okay, you've made it to the very end of the show, which means you get a gold star and this herbal tidbit. Well, if you've never seen black seed growing, it's really a botanical surprise. The plant has these delicate ferny leaves and then these sky blue or white flowers that almost look too gentle to hold such strong medicine, but they are absolutely gorgeous. But the real fun, the real magic's in that seed pod, because when it dries, it forms this papery thin lantern that actually rattles when you shake it. And then inside are dozens of these jet black seeds. And it's one of those plants, you grow it once, you can't imagine your garden without it. I love it in my garden. And I double checked, I am growing this plant, Nigella sativa, and I got those seeds from Strictly Medicinal Seeds. But this feels embarrassing to admit, I haven't actually harvested the seeds. I don't know why not. So that is definitely high on my list for next year. Looking forward to it. As always, thank you for joining me. I'll see you in the next episode.